seconds, the pendulum will drop far enough to touch your body.
Discount Jigsaw has a different synonym for slice than I do.
Jeremy, this is Saw 5. You don't have to clutch at straws for this one.
Was it necessary to pull the hour and minute hands off this clock? Is that some sort of symbolism? The clock has no hands, and at the end of this game, this guy will also not have any hands? Kind of on the nose movie, but okay.
Or the clock is designed that way to make it easier for Seth to tell how much time he has to survive. Not everything is symbolic.
You must insert your hands and push the buttons to start the devices before you. Your bones will be crushed to dust.
Fun. I remember when there were actual puzzles and strategy involved to get out of Jigsaw's traps. I mean, it was really only for the first movie, but still, that was fun. This really isn't. This is torture.
While I also wish that the games required the player to think more, this is a weird time to say this. This game is specifically rigged by Hoffman to be unwinnable. Why would he make some complicated, metaphorical, riddle-filled game if it was supposed to be unwinnable?
At the end of Saw 3, Jeff indeed picked up a gun, which he used to kill Amanda Young. Then he tried to kill John, but there weren't any bullets left. Then John put Jeff through one final game, which he failed when he used a table saw to kill John, which set off a trigger to kill Jeff's wife. So there was no reason for him to pick up the gun after this, other than to look like a threat and get shot immediately.
First of all, why are you sending this now instead of in the Saw 4 video? From 3 years before this one? Second, while I do agree that there's not exactly a good reason for Jeff to pick up the gun, this isn't the same gun he was holding earlier. This is Amanda's gun. You can tell in the footage you're showing that they're not the same gun. Third, that's not a table saw. This is a table saw. That is a buzz saw.
32 seconds of previously on Saw 4.
Oh, God forbid the movie reminds you of where we left off.
Cell phone has no signal in a horror film, cliche.
If this bit wasn't here, you'd be questioning why Strom doesn't call someone. So don't complain about cliches when they're a necessity.
Also, this phone has way too many bars to not have a signal. Also, flip phones.
Really? Flip phones? Those are still around today. Devices that flip open are not a sin.
Who the fuck are you? Gideon Meatpacking 11235 Lake Drive. I don't have 2 minutes.
The backup that supposedly arrives in 2 minutes doesn't arrive until after Hoffman has left the building with Corbett. Meaning that the entire finale of both Saw 3 and 4, and the opening where Strom is in the little glass boxy box, all happened within 2 minutes. That, or the guy on the phone is just ridiculously bad at estimating the time of arrival. Why didn't Strom try breaking the glass with the pen? Or stabbing a hole into the rubber bottom of the box? I'm not saying that would have 100% worked, I'm just saying that stabbing yourself in the neck is not the first thing most people would try.
She only has a limited supply of air, Jeff. And if you want to get her back, you'll have to play a game.
Where's my dad?
It's gonna be okay.
It's my mom. It's my mom.
Thanks for doing nothing with that.
What the hell, man? What happened? Where's Rig?
Tried to help. He didn't make it.
I mean, sure, Rig was injured at the end of the last movie, but he wasn't dead. Hoffman just left him in a room. He could have bled out in the time it took the cops to get here, but I'm trying to figure out why Hoffman didn't just go ahead and kill him, instead of leaving it up to chance. Rig knew Hoffman was a Jigsaw Jr., so what if he'd used some Boy Scout tactic like Strom and survived? This movie would be over. God damn it, why didn't Rig survive?
Jeremy, Rig was shot in the chest. Without medical assistance nearby, he will die. There is no Boy Scout tactic he could have used.
The officers who gave their lives are being honored here today.
Are they really just now honoring Singh and Tap? I know the timelines in these movies can be impossible to decipher, but Singh died before Carrie Elways was ever handcuffed to a pipe in that disgusting bathroom in the first film. So it's probably been at least a year, if not more. And I don't even think Tap was on the force anymore when he was trying to stop Ben from Lost from killing Trisha from Con Air.
This probably isn't the first time Singh and Tap are being honored. They're just being honored again because they both died while trying to catch Jigsaw. Just like everyone else on this table. Also, do you really think they're not going to honor Tap because, well, actually, he wasn't a detective when he died? I was going to add a missed sin about how we don't see a picture of these three, but we only see this table up close, so maybe they're just off camera. That, and also we never get a confirmation that they're actually dead.
I'm truly sorry about Agent Perez.
I'm sorry for anyone that has to stay at this hospital for any length of time. They just leave bloodied pillowcases and sheets out for way too long.
How long do you think this was left here for? Perez was probably just pulled out of the room. How else do you think Strom knows her last words?
She said your name, you know. Last thing she said was Detective Hoffman. Why'd she say that? Why'd she say your name?
Torture diorama.
That is what's on screen right now. Why is this a sin?
Movie takes 22 minutes and 3 seconds to properly Saw 5.
The movie needed to set everything up first. Just like Saw 2, 3, and 4.
No, it's not Jigsaw. He's dead. Haven't you watched TV lately?
Lady, I've seen the 4 previous Saw movies recently, and I never have a f***ing clue what's going on in one of these. So what makes you such an expert hot chick from Dexter?
So you think that a character in the Saw franchise can't possibly understand what's going on better than you? Considering the amount of sins you've made about the movies expecting you to remember something, I'm pretty sure that's not true.
Unless you want to be shredded when those nail bombs go off, I suggest we move on.
Yes, that's true, but you have over 12 minutes to worry about that. It's not, like, urgent.
Have you ever heard the saying, better safe than sorry? Also, for one frame, the head isn't censored. Come to think of it, what is the point of censoring the head if you're not gonna censor the bloody corpse?
What are you doing?
Being smart.
Why I'm collecting these keys, so right before the climax I can discover that we were all supposed to be working together this whole time.
The fuck did you just say?
Together this whole time. Together this whole time. Together this whole time.
Wow, that was a terrible audio splice.
I needed to discuss something with Agent Strom, but I can't seem to track him down. Could you give me a call? It would be greatly appreciated.
But I won't give you my number. You might be able to find my contact info in one of the many articles written about how I saved that little girl. Or, the article where I'm mourning my sister. Anyway, thanks, bye.
Jeremy, do you know what caller ID is?
It's weird to me that this Detective Fisk has been there from the beginning, and he's on nearly every case involving Saw, but he's never been one of Jigsaw's targets, and he's never had much screen time. I guess he was never interested enough in the case to form enough of an obsession to get killed by Jigsaw like the other detectives.
So the sin here is that a detective isn't letting his work rule his life. Pretty sure that's a good thing. Also, the Saw case? Nobody ever calls it that.
So now we find out that Seth's death by pendulum was before John died, and that Hoffman made it look like a Jigsaw killing. This movie plays so loose and creatively with time, it's almost impressive, if it wasn't for the fact that I have to keep deleting previous sins because the movie adjusts itself every 10 minutes. Not cool, Saw 5. Not cool.
We might have figured out another reason as to why CinemaSins is so bad. They only watched the movie once.
He was sentenced to 25 years. Got it reduced to 5 on a technicality.
I would love to know what this technicality is that reduces a murder sentence from 25 years to 5. There honestly could be one, I guess, but it would be nice to know what that technicality was so that I could understand Detective Hoffman's motivations better.
How in any way does knowing what technicality Seth got off with help you understand Hoffman's motivations better?
With only 3 points of safety, which of you will be the odd man out?
This video doesn't even think there's a chance that all 5 people came in here from the first room. It already assumes 4 people will be in here. There's even a chance only 1 to 3 people got out of that first room. Someone has a time-traveling DeLorean if they knew to say odd man out at this point.
The odd man out isn't referring to someone who's going to die. It's referring to someone who will get a chamber to themselves.
What floor are you going to?
Why did John wait until Hoffman asked a question to go in for the attack?
I'll ask you a better question. Why does it matter?
I think we're both going to the same place.
Is it Disneyland? I really hope it's Disneyland. Jigsaw has said that he detests murderers, and that's what Hoffman is. But instead of putting him in a trap that's f***ing awesome, he constructs the trap that he made in the 4th grade. I know he wants Hoffman to work with him, but Jigsaw sold out when he made this trap.
Considering John only wants to talk to Hoffman and make a deal with him, why would he construct a trap that does something other than preventing him from getting up?
If a subject survives my method, he or she is instantly rehabilitated.
I know Jigsaw isn't the best source for rehabilitation statistics using the Jigsaw method, but at this point he's done what, 2 traps? We know this because Seth Baxter, the guy Hoffman killed, is 3rd on the list. He hasn't gotten to Amanda Young yet, and the first 2 victims on this list definitely died, so he doesn't know if his method works. Yeah, he's crazy, but he's also not using the scientific method, and that's a sin.
This paper is only referring to Jigsaw victims who were actually discovered by the authorities. There could be multiple victims who were never found. And because Jigsaw exists, we now know that that's true.
10 years ago, I came out of the war a broken man. Jigsaw put the pieces of my life back together again.
And so do you, because you referenced the existence of Jigsaw in this very video. Also, John considers his car crash his own game, which he was rehabilitated by. So he's also referring to himself when he says,
"If a subject survives my method, he or she is instantly rehabilitated."
How'd they get you?
The only reason I even know who the f this guy in the barbed wire is because I've watched the previous Saw films in the last couple weeks. Imagine seeing this in the theater 4 years later after the first film and trying to reconstruct that memory.
You don't have to reconstruct anything. The movie reminds you who Paul is by showing him in the trap and playing the audio from the game.
How much blood will you shed to stay alive?
Also, there was another terrible audio splice.
The only reason I even know who the f this guy in the barbed wire is because I know that Saw 5 is basically the story of how Detective Hoffman became Jigsaw's assistant. But considering that Jigsaw's already done this before without help, and Hoffman is a detective who should know a thing or two about kidnapping, it takes way too long to subdue this guy. Considering the setting, this should have taken 5 seconds, but it doesn't because movie.
The reason it took so long is that Paul needed 3 shots.
That leaves a lot to chance.
Costas Mandalore would be amazing at Sinning Saw 2.
And Jigsaw would be good at... take your pick.
If you're good at anticipating the human mind, it leaves nothing to chance.
I did something, and a bunch of people were killed. I didn't mean to. They're still dead.
Wait, is this movie saying that this tweaker has a lab back in his apartment where he's trying to revive a bunch of dead people that he feels guilty about killing? Because I'd love to see that movie.
Well, this is either a pointless joke or Jeremy jumping to a dumb conclusion.
Holy shit, her eyes opened. I thought we were about to get zombie Megan good, but we didn't, unfortunately.
Or the eyes opened because of the electric shock.
Agent Strong, and why would he be following you?
That's a good question. What's a better question is why Erickson would be so quick to believe Jigsaw's ex-wife over one of his agents, because he 100% does.
It's not that unbelievable, considering the last thing Strom asked for before being taken off the case was to speak to Jill.
I want to talk to Jill Tuck one last time.
Not to mention the suspicious way Strom was acting when Erickson last saw him.
Peter. Callan, take this to analysis.
Right away, sir.
What are you doing here?
Just grabbing some stuff from the office. I'm taking your advice.
Taking some time off, huh?
Yeah, well, I have to heal up, you know. You know, I'll keep in touch. I'll see you around.
We're connected. So in the end, all the pieces will fit together, and it'll be clear.
And if it isn't, we'll make another movie where, I don't know, Carrie Elways is involved somehow.
Well, this sin is pointless and dumb, but while we're here, am I the only one who thinks that the reason Jeremy keeps mentioning Dr. Gordon is because he knows that he reappears in the series, but he doesn't know which movie, due to him only reading a Wikipedia article?
You were supposed to be the hero.
Is Strom just upset because he didn't get to be the hero? Because I think Strom is just upset because he didn't get to be the hero.
The sin here is so worthless that I'm just going to show this comment that I found.
Hey, Callan, I want to put a locator on Strom's mobile phone.
Yeah, Jigsaw's wife told me that he was following her with no evidence. Then that motherfucker calls me and just hangs up. And when I call back, he doesn't answer. It's time for a federal investigation of that asshole.
Strom survived the game at the Gideon meatpacking plant, has been acting pretty suspicious, and has been accused of following Jill Tuck. Also, Hoffman told Erickson about Strom's theory that the second accomplice could be someone on the inside.
He suspected someone on the inside.
And the files disappearing kinda supports this theory. All of these things happening is enough to at least figure out where Strom is.
Also, this guy never even tried to call Peter after Jill told him she thought she was being followed. If he really gave a shit, he would have tried to call him earlier, but he didn't. Now this call and hang up thing gets him suspicious?
Maybe he was about to do that very thing before Peter called him. After all, we don't know how long it's been since the interaction with Jill.
There are blades in here.
We're an hour and almost 12 minutes into a movie with Saw in the title. I would say it's about damn time.
The previous 3 movies did similar things. We don't need to see a Saw the second the movie starts.
Fills with what?
Blood. Our blood.
Or you could pee in it. The sides are just a fence with holes in it, and the beaker doesn't have a cap on it. And even if they don't have to pee, it's still weird that none of the Jigsaw crew thought that this would be a possibility. And I'm not saying that they could have peed 10 pints of urine, but it's worth a try.
Why are there 5 slots in this machine?
Well, there are 5 Saws. Wait a minute. 5 Saws? Saw 5. Roll credits.
Doesn't count if it's not said out loud.
It wasn't abandoned. There was 8 people in there. 8 people died.
Death's position.
A stupid pun and absolutely nothing.
The fire! It's what connects us.
5th Saw movie inspires Fantasy Island 12 years later.
A stupid and pointless reference.
However, if you choose not to, you will never be heard from again.
Hoffman cheated like a motherfucker to frame Strom, and he lucked out on every single thing going exactly the way he needed them to. They didn't earn this ending, and if I were in a terrible mood, I'd add 50 cents. But goddammit, I love it. Along with the classic Saw, here's the you didn't know score, it's worth a sin off.
I am obligated to remove a sin as well. By the way, does anyone else think it's weird that the first time CinemaSins decided to remove a sin from a Saw movie is the 5th one?
Oh, fun. This is like when that hot naked lady got off on all that Heather Matarazzo blood in Hostel Part 2.
The final sin is a pointless reference.